Hello, grade 4 learners. I'm Teacher L, and today we will explore the fascinating life cycle of animals. Today, we'll be using flowcharts to see how each of this life cycle compares. Let's quickly review what we learned about plants and animals and their habitats by answering the following questions. Number 1. What are some examples of habitats and what makes each one unique? Some examples of habitats are gardens, rice fields, seashores, and mangroves. Gardens have lots of plants and flowers. Rice fields are full of rice plants and water. Seashores are where the land meets the sea, and mangroves have trees that grow in salty water. Now, can you name one plant and one animal that lives in each of these habitats? In a garden, a plant could be a sunflower and an animal could be a butterfly. In a rice field, rice plants grow and frogs live there. Seashores have coconut trees and crabs, and mangroves have mangrove trees and fish. Why are habitats like seashores and mangroves important to people? Seashores give us food like fish and they are places to have fun. Mangroves protect the land from big waves, help stop floods, and are home to animals that people catch for food. How do gardens and rice fields help people in our community? Gardens give us vegetables and fruits to eat, and they make the air cleaner. Rice fields give us rice, which is our main food, and both people have food and can provide jobs. What might happen if we don't take care of our habitats like mangroves and rice fields? If we don't take care of mangroves, big waves might damage the land. If rice fields are not cared for, we might have less rice to eat. Not taking care of these places can harm animals and plants too. Now we're going to explore how organisms in our ecosystem grow and live through their life cycles. But before we dive into our lesson, let's learn some new words that will help us understand the life cycle of animals even better. Number 1, reproduce. It is the process by which living organisms create new individuals of the same kind. Birth to death. It is the complete lifespan of an organism from the moment it is born until it dies. Lay eggs. It is the process by which certain animals produce eggs, which then develop into young organisms. Number 4, metamorphosis. It is a significant change in form or structure during the development of an organism, often seen in insects and amphibians. Larvae. It is the immature form of an animal that undergoes metamorphosis, typically looking very different from the adult form. Tadpole. It is the larval stage of a frog or toad, which is aquatic and has a tail and gills. Baby animal. It is a young or immature form of an animal that has just been born or hatched. Adolescent. It is a young organism that it is in the process of growing up and becoming an adult. Adult. A fully developed organism that is capable of reproduction. Now let's start on the life cycle of a butterfly. Now what do you know about butterflies? Do you like them? Why do you think they are important in our environment? Butterflies are not just pretty to look at, they play an important role in pollinating flowers and helping plants grow. Let's talk about each stage in more detail. The life cycle begins when a female butterfly lays eggs, usually on the leaves of plants. These tiny eggs can be different colors and shapes depending on the butterfly species. Can anyone tell me what will happen next? Okay, after a few days, the eggs hatch into caterpillars, also known as larvae. This stage is all about eating. Caterpillars munch on leaves and grow quickly. They may look different depending on the species, with some being bright and colorful to scare away predators. Now, why do you think they eat so much? Once the caterpillar is fully grown, it forms a pupa, also called a chrysalis. This is a time of transformation. Inside the chrysalis, the caterpillar is changing into a butterfly. It might look like nothing is happening, but inside, a lot of important changes are taking place. Can anyone imagine what it might feel like to change like that? Finally, after a few weeks, the adult butterfly emerges from the chrysalis. At first, its wings are crumpled and wet, but soon they dry and expand, allowing the butterfly to fly. Adult butterflies are often colorful and can be found feeding on flowers. They are also busy laying eggs to start the life cycle all over again. Many insects begin their lives as eggs. An insect changes from one distinct form to another as it grows. Now, this process of transformation they went through is called metamorphosis. Now, there are two kinds of metamorphosis, complete and incomplete. Complete metamorphosis includes insects like beetles, bees, and butterflies. These undergo four life stages. Now, insects that undergo incomplete metamorphosis have only three life stages: egg, nymph, and adult, and they include insects like grasshoppers and stick insects. Now let's move on to the life cycle of a frog. What do you know about frogs? Have you ever seen one in real life? And why frogs are important in nature? Frogs are important because they help keep insect populations in balance and are also food for other animals. They play a big role in their ecosystems. The life cycle begins when a female frog lays eggs, usually in water. The eggs are often laid in clusters called frog spawn and look like tiny clear bubbles with dark dots inside. And after a few days, the eggs hatch into tadpoles. Tadpoles live in water and look a bit like small fish with tails to help them swim. They don't have legs yet, and they mainly eat algae to grow and gain energy. Can anyone guess what happens next? Okay, so as they grow, tadpoles start developing back legs, then front legs. Their tail begins to shrink, and they slowly start to look more like frogs. At this stage, they're called froglets. Froglets can live both in water and on land, although they're still pretty small. Finally, the froglet's tail disappears, and it becomes an adult frog. Adult frogs have strong legs for hopping and can live both on land and in water. They also start eating insects and other small creatures. Once they reach adulthood, they can lay eggs of their own to start the cycle all over again. Life cycle of a chicken. What do you know about chickens? Have you ever seen one up close? And why do you think chickens are important to us? Chickens are an important part of our lives, especially because they provide us with eggs and meat. They are a key source of food and are also part of many farms, helping people earn a livelihood. Let's go through each stage to see how a chicken grows and changes. The life cycle begins when a hen lays an egg. Inside the egg, a chick begins to develop. After about 21 days of warmth from the mother hen, the chick is ready to hatch. When the chick hatches, it's covered in soft, fluffy feathers called down. Chicks are small and need warmth and care from their mother, as well as food to grow strong. They start eating grains, small insects, and feed. As the chick grows, it develops adult feathers and eventually becomes a full-grown chicken. Adult chickens have strong beaks, claws, and feathers, and hens can start laying eggs and the cycle continues. Now, let's see through the life cycle of a human. How humans grow and change over time. Have you noticed how babies and adults look different or how we change as we grow up? It's right. Humans, just like animals, go through different stages in life. Each stage is unique with different characteristics and changes. Now let's go through each stage to see how we grow and develop over time. The first stage begins inside the mother's womb, where a baby starts as a tiny fetus. Over time, the fetus grows and after about 9 months, it's ready to be born. After birth, the baby is now an infant. Infants need a lot of care, food, and sleep to help them grow. They begin to recognize sounds, people, and eventually start crawling and walking. The third stage is the childhood stage. In childhood, we become more active and curious. This is the time when we start learning to talk, play, read, and make friends. We grow stronger and taller as we eat healthy food and stay active. During adolescence or the teenage years, our bodies change a lot as we prepare for adulthood. We become more independent and start to understand the world better. Eating nutritious food and staying healthy is important during this stage. As adults, we are fully grown. Adults take on responsibilities like working, caring for family, and contributing to their communities. Adults continue to stay active and make healthy choices to support their bodies. In the last stage, we reach old age. Many older adults may slow down, but they often have a lot of wisdom and experience to share. Staying connected with family, eating well, and keeping the mind active are key at this stage. So, from fetus to old age, each stage of life brings new experiences and changes. Every stage is important and help us grow and contribute to our families and communities. Let's take a moment to summarize what we've learned about the life cycle of animals. Life cycle is the sequence of changes an organism goes through during its life. Each animal has unique stages in its life cycle that help it grow and develop. Now, what are the different stages in the life cycle of a butterfly, frog, chicken, and human? And what are the similarities and differences in the life cycle of these animals? So let's also think about how these life cycles are similar and different. For example, both frogs and butterflies go through metamorphosis, changing shape as they grow, while humans and chickens grow steadily without a complete change on its form. What are some advantages of being born as a live mammal rather than hatching from an egg like a bird, amphibian, or a reptile? Being born alive can sometimes mean a safer start to life, with parents often providing more care and protection early on. On the other hand, animals that hatch from eggs may have more independence from a younger age. As we wrap up this lesson on animal life cycles, let's reflect on some of the things that work well and what we learned together. Now let us answer the questions below based on your understanding. Fill in the missing words in each sentence. Number one, the first step in an animal's life is the egg. Number two, the second stage in a butterfly's life is called larvae or caterpillar. Number three, a baby frog that hatches from an egg is called a tadpole. Number four, a grown-up animal is called an adult. Number five, when animals have babies again and again, it's called reproduce or life cycle. With the correct letter, the diagram displays life cycles of different animals. Which animal doesn't have this life cycle? The answer is letter D, grasshopper. Now this time, provide the missing information to complete the animal life cycle. That's the end of our lesson. I'm Teacher L saying, have a wonderful day.